Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. This is episode 84 of Get Out a Wrap, and I'm joined by Justin Haines, the Chief Operating Officer at Dojo. And I think I've been trying to get you on since you were back at OVO, Justin. So thanks very much for joining us today.
Yeah, I've been dodging you for a couple of years now, but you finally pinned me down.
I got you cornered.
Yeah, I couldn't get away.
Thanks very much for agreeing to do this. And we shared. I finally did corner you at the panel that we did for the UK National Contact Centre conference. Just kind of thinking ahead, but before we kind of go forwards, just wanted to go back and how have you got to where you are today? What's been your kind of career journey?
Yeah, I thought you might ask this, so I've been thinking about it. It definitely wasn't anything you'd probably see in a textbook, and it wasn't planned. Basically, to cut a long story short, I did a ski season after university, met a girl, decided to get a flat together in London because it was halfway between where we both lived. And we only had enough money for 1 month's rent. And so we both needed to get a job. And I got a job on I think what you could very, very loosely describe as a graduate scheme. I did one rotation in that company, a big French energy company, Total. And I ended up in the customer service division and I never left. So I worked managing a team and just got promoted through them for several years. Eventually the division I was in got sold. I moved to the Caribbean because I was late 20s, early 30s, and my wife and I still had a bit of a traveling bug. So I did 2 years running a contact center out there, which is an incredible experience. Came back, decided I fancied moving away from the southeast of England because we had a house in Surrey. Moved to the West Country, worked for Vodafone, and just sort of worked through the ranks, got promoted, ran bigger and bigger operations, and a bit of contracting back to Vodafone. Then got an amazing job opportunity at OVO. I became started as head of, and then within 6 months I was contact center director, and that just grew as the business grew. A huge scale up. I started with 100 people, left there with 1,500 people, with a huge business, and then I went to start as this role as a more senior role, but and actually a much smaller business, being a B2B, another scale up really. And I'm COO at Dojo. We were called Payment Sense. We rebranded it a couple of months ago to Dojo, and it was just the opportunity to set up something new from day one. I'd never done that. Of all the things I'd done, I'd never done anything from a blank sheet of paper, and that's what the opportunity was here. And it's been a hell of a couple of years.
What a storied kind of journey you've had. I'm intrigued by whereabouts in the Caribbean was it?
Yeah, everyone always is interested.
Everyone goes on that one, do they?
They do go for that one. Yeah, it's I worked in a place called Grenada, which is a beautiful tropical paradise. And I went back recently, and it's changed quite a lot, but it's still amazing. It's quite south in the West Indies, down towards South America, and not far from Trinidad, Tobago and Barbados. So at weekends we would jump on a plane, sort of 30-40 pounds, and return to go to St. Lucia or wherever we went, and some tiny islands that no one's heard of. And it was an amazing life experience for us, picking mangoes out of the garden. So the work was the hardest job I've ever done, because it was an outsourced operation where it's businesses that wanted to save money, US clients, and we worked crazy hours with the time zones, and they would change our headcount requirements. I'd have to hire 150 people overnight for adverts on the radio, crazy interviewing, and if we didn't get it set up in 2 days, we lost the deal. And then 3 days later, they would cut half the workforce, and I'd have to let people go. It was very, very challenging, but weekends and evenings were incredible. We were in the Caribbean.
Wow. I mean, yeah, sorry if everyone kind of always goes to that part of the...
Yeah, it's got a special place in our heart, though. I absolutely... Have you ever been to the Caribbean?
No, but the closest my father was in the Air Force and was stationed in Belize for nearly a year. So we didn't see him for a long time. And my mum got the opportunity to go out there and spend like 3 weeks with him. They'll hate me saying this because it's become like a family thing. My mum went to Belize, and me and my sister went to Newark with my nana and granddad. So never got there, but I think hearing those kind of things is fascinating. I think I've mentioned to you before, I spent 2.5 years living and working in Istanbul, and just something so different to our way of life is just such a great thing for your development. I think just not just work, but who you are as a person as well.
Yeah, when I got there, they had a list of all the people that they wanted to fire, but they were too scared to fire them because what had happened before was they dismissed this lady for whatever reason, and she'd locked the director in the office until he promised to give her a job back. It was culturally very, very different, very different attitudes to punctuality. And actually, there were some realities that I had to learn, which was nobody had cars, and you would travel on buses, and they weren't scheduled buses. So you had to. Some people would travel an hour and a half on a series of buses, but their buses are vans. So you had to just learn. I also had to learn about tropical storms because we had a lot of money riding on the campaigns being successful, but there was a tropical storm blowing in, and everybody wanted to go home because of the storm, and I stupidly kept us there for a bit longer because we were quite a small business and it's a very entrepreneurial business. And then I eventually shut it because it was rain like I'd never seen before, and there were trees blowing down, and that was a big lesson for me to really understand the environment that you're in. I mean, I suddenly realized why the rain gutters were about 15 feet deep, and yeah, so I had it was scary because I thought if something happens to people, because I've kept them there. So yeah, it was I learned a lot there. It was amazing. I had a great time as well.
And for each of the sort of subsequent moves, how do you make your decisions?
Yeah, I'm not saying I've always made good decisions. Probably in the earlier periods where I did a couple of contracts and so on, and realized that you really need to do a bit more due diligence into where you're going to go for. But really, it's about what's fun, what's interesting. And as I've made better decisions going on, for example, the move. I mean, Vodafone was a great place to work, but I actually wanted to go for somewhere that was less corporate, more growth, and it was just I was really picky, and the job going for over, I had a couple of opportunities internally and another external opportunity. Weirdly, at a time when I wasn't even looking, it was just things were happening, and it was just about the values. Who really cares about customers, or who says that they care about customers? And I think that's really hard because everyone's got a value that says we put our customers first, but it's who actually really means it. Also, I think who you work for, who's your boss, is really important. Bosses change, but you've got to back and trust that they're going to be there for a while. And life's too short for work with bad managers, in my view. And what stage of evolution is that business at? And for my last couple of roles, I met a lot of people. For example, moving to Payment Sense / Dojo, I met every single member of the exec team and met the owners 3 or 4 times. And I took 6 weeks to make the decision once they'd offered me the role. It was I wanted to really believe that everything that I was being told really matched, because leaving a great job is a big thing to do. But also sometimes I think you've got to be brave, and people get stale. I think sometimes you've got to move before you get stale as well. So yeah, it's about scratching below the surface of what everybody says are their values, and finding, looking for any chinks in the armor, really.
And I love that. And something you mentioned there about customers, I think it's a bit of a bugbear around. Everyone talks a good game around customers, and but it's more. It feels like it's more like, how can we attach customer to this sentence or buzzword or process? And I've seen firsthand the kind of culture that is customer focused that you've developed. Where does that come from, and how have you delivered that where you've been?
Yeah, I mean, I just really enjoy doing the right things that are instinctive to me. And I don't think it is instinctive to everyone. I think some people we're all good at different things. We're all driven by different things. But delivering a really great employee experience and a customer experience are just things I enjoy. So I try, as my career's gone on, I've tried to be pickier about just finding companies who genuinely want that to happen. And I just enjoy it. So, and I find that it's quite easy to hire people who also enjoy it, because we've all worked at places where you've been compromised on trying to do the right thing, because generally, it's a tough environment financially, and it's about money. And so where it comes from with me is I try and build teams and deliver it and hire the right people and create the environment. My son always jokes, he says, I don't think you really do anything. You just do presentations and interview people. And a lot of what I do is creating that environment and finding. I've spent absolutely hundreds of hours interviewing people, and then I spend now more of my time just telling stories and creating that environment for people to do. It's one of the few things I'm good at and that I enjoy. So if you find a company who genuinely wants you to do that and build a great culture, then you're in the right place. And I'd probably be awful for some other companies who are at different stages of evolution. We're all good and bad at different things. So finding the right match for you is important. And I think in the last two companies, I've definitely found the right companies.
And I don't know if I've used a story, or I've used something I saw many years ago. I don't know, how long ago was it? Do you remember I came into OVO, and just a kind of testament to that care and attention. It was my birthday, actually, and at the end of the day, you guys gave me a bottle of wine, which was lovely. But I've talked about this since that point. Something I saw you doing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might have just kind of embellished it and made it sound better than it is, but you made time every week to go around different teams and just ask them like three things: is how's it going? Am I giving you everything you need, or what else do you need to make your job better? And just not overly formal. Just you actually just walked into their space. That I have remembered that right. I hope so.
Yeah. I've tried different things over the years. So and it depends on the environment, and we've adapted it a little bit where I am now. So for example, at the moment, what I do is we do a coffee catch up, and I get a different group, and it could be advisors, it could be team managers, it could be anyone, and they come into a room, and I do it either all on Zoom if they are working from home, or all in person. I don't split it. I find that it works better, and I've got some operational people up in different locations as well, and we just have a chat. I do it every week, every Tuesday. Tuesday's the day that I don't have any meetings. Excuse me, with the founders or anything that could kind of mess up my diary. It's my safest day for that, and I do it every single week, and it's really informal. And we just say, I also ask, what would you do if you were in charge as well? And it's nice. Just and it's really it's never, no comments are ever attributed back to an individual. It's really informal, and every single week it goes in a different direction. And some of it's me just answering their questions and giving an opinion, and some of it's me listening, and it's and I've sort of evolved it over the time, and I don't have a set format. I have a few standard sort of questions similar to the ones you've said, and it's just something that I've done it in different ways, whether you just wander around or have people in groups and online and so on. But yeah, I still do it now every week. It's my favorite meeting. I don't even know who's going to be there either. The forecast and planning team set it up, and they just rotate through every single person who I'm responsible for, and I just learn something new. And sometimes it's really, really valuable things that all of our other mechanisms have missed rather, or sometimes it's just it's a nice chat where they get to spend some time with me, and we always get good feedback from it, and I always learn something as well. But but my managers get a bit nervous as well, because sometimes I spot the odd silly thing that we've put in place that we just need to nip in the bud.
There's nothing but benefits from doing that. Just from even if I'm sure it's never happened, but even if people turned up and they were quite sullen, that's telling you something. It's kind of like this temperature gauge of of where you're at. You know, I think it's brilliant, and it's often overlooked because I think people, especially leadership, too often operate in the wrong stratosphere. You know, they are operating in the wrong place, especially when it comes to the people that are actually showing up every single day for your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we but the other little side benefit is it just brings senior people and some more junior people closer together, get to know them personally. They, you know, you form a rapport. So then when you bump into them in the kitchen and so on, they feel more comfortable talking to you and telling you. And then they realize that there's trust because you actually do stuff based on their feedback, or you explain. Often I explain misinterpretations, and I say, you know, that isn't the case, or we did that for this reason. And I realized more recently, we have an employee communication manager, and she comes into them now because probably 8 or 9 times out of 10, anything that's negative is actually not a negative thing. It's a misunderstanding, and it's something that we should have communicated better. So she comes in so that she can actually proactive, like anticipate these things, and she's really enjoying that. She's quite new, and so we can sort of understand how sensitive and how people can misunderstand things if you're not careful.
What a great role. I haven't heard of that very often. That's a great role.
Yeah, I just think that so much of in particularly in operational roles where, you know, lots of the time people don't have loads of time to go and mingle. You know, we've obviously got all of the things that you'd expect around team meetings and so on. But of course, a large proportion of the day, the bulk of the team, their time is not their own. They are scheduled on to be online on phone, web chat, or whatever. And it's very easy for things to be missed. So we have I had it over, and I've got it here. It's one of the first roles that I wanted to get here. And it's basically someone whose job is to communicate in terms of everything that advisors, for example, or managers need to know to do the job for customers, but also just everything else. So it's not just technical stuff. It's actually, importantly, just to inspire people, explain why we do things, about our values. We're running a session on Monday just about our mission and vision and so on, and purpose. And her job is to basically make sure everyone's informed about everything. And actually, I would readily give up other headcount or other things that we do for this role because it's just so important when you've got big groups of people.
That's brilliant. That's a great takeaway. What is the mission? What is the vision that you are pursuing?
Yeah, so we want to empower the experience economy. So we believe that so many of our small medium enterprises are under threat from basically online. So customers can buy anything. We can all buy anything, but what you can't do is you can't buy an amazing experience in a coffee shop or a restaurant so we're seeing the high street is changing, and we're all seeing shops shutting down and so on. But people still want to go and go there, but they also sneakily go off and buy their books online and so on. So businesses that are surviving are we view it as the experience economy. So you can't replicate that experience online. So what we're trying to do is to build tools to sort of empower and support those businesses. So just a small example is we found out through our insight just how much time businesses spend at every single day cashing up. And that's time that they're away from their customers or away from their families or whatever it is. And we want to give them more time back. So it's not just about money, it's about time. So we spent a lot of time understanding it, and we've now taken some processes that were taking them an hour and a half every single day down to minutes through automation. And businesses are just, it's so incredible that I've got all the data that I used to have to do. You've now given me time back. So I can either go home, or I can spend more time in my business, or I can invest, and my staff are happier, because there's so much admin that we all do. And if you can get rid of that, so of course we want it to be priced fairly and so on, but actually businesses are talking about time. So we want to empower the experience economy. We're building new tools to help our some new stuff that's coming to, for example, in our restaurant space to bring customers and merchants together closer, so the consumers and the restaurant owners and so on closer together. And there's loads more that we can do. So because we don't want an awful high street where every big chains and so on, and we don't want that as consumers. So there's a real opportunity, and Dojo is selling incredibly well. It took about 2 years to build, and it basically improved on everything that was out there, and including our own previous payment sense product. And it took the pandemic sort of meant that we had to move back a little bit on the launch, but it's amazing. We're 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Sometimes we even get it popped up to 5. And it's some of the best feedback. We've got amazing CSAT. Our net promoter score is the highest in the industry, and our employee engagement scores are off the charts as well. So far it's been amazing, but it's been hard, and it's been hard. I interviewed 150 people over Zoom, and to get it all going, didn't know how tall they were going to be till they turned up eventually in the office. And yeah, it's an amazing place to work, and yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's hard work for sure.
I love that, and I think you hit the nail on the head. As a consumer, I don't want to see an identikit high street. You know, I know certain trips into London, I'll go via a particular coffee shop that isn't probably one of the chain ones, because I know there's one that plays the kind of music that I like, and they've always got quirky stuff knocking about, and you always have an interesting conversation. If you're able to give them more time to focus on the next thing they're going to do, to kind of, rather than the admin, because I'm sure that's not where they're drawn to. They didn't set it up because they love admin. Then I think that's brilliant. And all of those results you've got, so employee engagement, CSAT, Trustpilot, if you had to boil that down to the reasons why, what would be the sort of top 3? Yeah,
I mean, a lot of it, if I'm honest, comes from the culture that the founders have set. So they're quite inspirational. They drive everybody really hard, but they do it through a really interesting way. They tell stories, they give loads and loads and loads of context, and then they just trust you to get on with it. So, and they empower you and trust you. You will never ever be fired at Dojo for missing a target, for failing at anything. You might be if you don't try, if you don't dream big, if you just hide away in the corner. It really is a place where you're encouraged to go and do everything. So there's so many examples of this, and I've had to adjust a little bit to working in the business. I had to go and find look for the office and set up the whole infrastructure of what we were going to pay people and what my structure was going to be. And then I turned around for any sort of like, who finds the offices around here, and what's the pay structure and so on. And there isn't any of that. They just hire really great people and then trust that you get on with it. They said, who knows more about hiring offices in Bristol? I mean, I chose Bristol. I chose the office. I chose the pay structure. I chose every single thing. So not everybody is comfortable with that level of autonomy and ambiguity, but you pass that down. And if you've hired the right people and you really have hired them well, people just roll with that, and they just can't believe it. And I know a couple of the people who work in the team, and they've had that. So I know you've worked with Daisy, for example, in quality, and I just said, go and build the best quality team that you've ever built. You know more about it than me. Just go and do it and tell me what you need. And you're only limited by your imagination. And of course, you've got to spend the company's money wisely. They say to us, spend it as if it's your own money. And that's as simple as it needs to be. And actually, we think about that all the time. Would I do this if it was my own money? So there's very few rules, and that is what sort of empowers us. And you pass that down to everybody. And occasionally you get the wrong. It's just some people just freak out in that environment. But we have structure, and we absolutely have structure, but we also have freedom and autonomy. And that's what's very powerful about it.
I love it. And I can absolutely concur. Daisy's brilliant, other than the fact that she's a West Ham fan, but
yeah. But actually quite good now as well, annoyingly, aren't they?
Very annoying. That is really annoying. But that level of autonomy, I absolutely love it. And actually, some of the people that work with me will know, because I've told this story about something hit me quite early on in management. And I would use this kind of analogy or like thought exercise, try and get team leaders and then managers that worked for me to visualize when they were making decisions either about people or investment, if they had to go down to the ATM machine and take the money out of their own account, what would they do? And people can answer that instantly. They go, "Oh God, no, I wouldn't be paying for this guy." Well, so what's different? You know, if it was your own money and it's an instantaneous yes or no, what you're doing then when it comes to working with someone is you're layering on stuff rather than going, well, there's some truth in that gut instinct response. So it's always been one that I've loved, that kind of concept. Yeah, hire good people and then get out of their way, right?
We have it's even with our expenses, it's a very simple rule: is it in the best interest of the company? So
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one, particularly when alcohol's involved. But yeah, it's as simple as that. Could you look at the owners and say it's in the best interest of the company? We had a debate about buying, somebody put through some pretty high level of Jaeger bombs for the sales team, but they were celebrating record-breaking sales, and the owner said, "I don't care if they bring in this level of sales and you celebrate with Jaeger bombs, that's what they want, then that is in the best interest of the company. They've just smashed all their targets. Go for it." So if you're doing it on a Monday night for no reason, just because out of habit and so on, it's not in the best interest. So they set that context, and then they trust that they've got the right people to do it, and we will do the same.
That's brilliant. And I wanted to ask you something you talked about at the conference, and with the panel, it was kind of like a limited time to be able to go through it, and it really intrigued me. I'd be honest, I haven't heard of this before. The concept of having a tribe, what is that?
Yeah, so quite recently we moved to a tribe model. So what we've done is we're all familiar with normal businesses work by function. So you have the finance, the marketing, operations, and so on, and legal and whatever. What we've done is we've broken the business down into tribes. So we have a growth tribe. So all of the people who work on growth, getting more customers, which is majority of that is our commercial team, our sales guys, and so on. But there's lots of people who support them in marketing and in legal, and some of my team and developers building tools for online and so on. So then we've got customer success, which is most of my team, but there's 4 squads of developers who support us, and we go to them to get work. We've got customer comms people, we've got finance person, and so on. So, and then we've got international, we've got new products. So we've got all of these, we've got our consumer business helping our restaurants and so on. So what we've done is we've structured our business now around business problems, challenges, opportunities, rather than functions. So we had our tribe kickoff just last week, actually, and I had developers there, product managers, customer comms. I had all of these different people who basically, we all worked together, but in a very informal way, and they all had different objectives, because the marketing team had their own objectives, the product team had theirs, and we were all saying that we wanted to have the best net promoter score in the industry. We wanted to take it up to record levels within the operation, but they all had conflicting. So they all, when push came to shove, their boss was asking, marketing was asking them to do something different, and finance were asking them to do something different. So actually now everybody's working on growth, customer success, international, new products, has the same objectives, and that's very, very powerful. So when you don't then have to argue with the development team to build some new tool, because you've got the same objectives. So actually they're already empowered to deliver exactly, and incentivized to deliver what you're going to ask them for already. So the theory is we all come to the same conclusion, because you're all pulling in the same direction. And it's quite it's quite different. We did a hybrid of this. We got quite close to this at OVO actually, with a lot of success, and this has taken it even further. It's the whole business. Everybody's in a tribe. There's a couple of tribes that are actually just, we call them core, which is, you don't want to have a payroll manager in every single tribe. You want to have a center of excellence who pays everybody, and there's a lawyer and someone who goes across every tribe. But most people, I think 90% of people in the business are in a tribe now, actually one of the main tribes. So yeah, and it's really powerful. We spent time all in a room together talking about how we deliver an amazing customer experience. And you had developers talking about how they're going to build tools for CSAs. You had marketing people who are now shifting from being aligned to the marketing objectives to now saying, yeah, I'm going to work on NPS, and I could do this and I could do that. And all these people are suddenly thinking differently. We also sit together. So we have all the tribe. We've had a massive move. So the marketing team are all split across everybody. And they're now getting used to sitting in different tribes. And so they have a functional group. So you go back to your functional group for pastoral care to manage you, for your one-to-ones and your training and your career development. But actually, in terms of where you spend your time, both physically and just in terms of mentally, is actually in your tribe delivering on your objectives for the business. It's very, very powerful. We're in the early stages of it, but the early signs are that it's going to be pretty incredible, because you don't have to ask anybody to do anything. They're already working on it, and you assign out responsibility. So, for example, there were lots of questions about communication, and we said, no, the comms person is going to be responsible for the comms for the whole tribe now. And who knows more about it? So I'm not going to be responsible. She's responsible. And the finance person is going to do all our numbers, and the data team are going to actually run all of the data that justifies everything that we're doing in terms of our objectives. And they're responsible, and they'll answer your questions because they're empowered to do it. So actually, it's cross-functional working at its best, because crucially you're all aligned behind the same objectives.
How do you go across? I mean, it sounds amazing, but I can also see. I guess, I mean, not a but. I'm just intrigued to know. I'd love to have been there at the start of it all, to see people kind of go, right. Was there a sense of? I'm sure there was quite clear leadership, but a sense of like, well, this feels weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. And I think in future, when we hire new people and they'll just go straight into it, this will just be how it is, and it won't feel weird. But of course, it's weird for people initially, especially if you're the only person embedded in a new tribe and you didn't know them that well and so on. It's really weird. For the developers, actually, I was most worried about them, but actually, they said, this is really good. We've got a real sense of purpose. We're really aligned. We're spending more time with the people who are delivering for, and it's a bit more formal than it was before, because they were already in theory doing that. But they said we always had slightly different objectives. So it is weird and it is new, but actually it's becoming less weird every day. And I now talk. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've spent more time talking to product managers and development leads than I ever have before.
Yeah.
And actually realize that although we have different experiences and skill sets and so on, we're just talking about how to get the best NPS that is actually possible. Like we're already at the top. We want to go even further, and we also want to hit some other core metrics below that. So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about how to do it. That's different. And that's really powerful, really, really powerful.
It sounds great. And just to be clear, I would embrace the weirdness. I think through weirdness equals growth, right? And just kind of doing things differently. And I think everyone, when you were talking about it, I was thinking about projects I've been involved in where maybe we've delivered a new service, or there's been a new site, or there's been a change. The sweet spot has been when you've spent time. If I think about time with developers, it's been when there's a sudden moment where you both get each other.
Yeah.
Where there's like, yeah, this would be good. Oh yeah, we could do that, and that would be good. But those are fleeting moments, and
Yeah.
where you go against the system as opposed to having a system and a structure that encourages that collaboration.
Yeah, they are now. If it's all gone as well as I think it has, and they weren't all just pretending, which I don't think they were, they are, everybody in that tribe now, in the customer success tribe, I'm the exec sponsor of the tribe, is now spending their time thinking about the tribe's objectives, which is basically all about the customer. We also have one in there about employee experience, because we chose our own objectives and we said, what's the point having an amazing customer experience if we all don't enjoy it? So we've also got an employee experience one in there. So they're thinking about how to make this a great place to work and how to make it incredible for our customers. Everybody, whatever, this whole, I don't think I've got a lawyer in there, but I don't think there's any other department that's not represented in the tribe. So you've got somebody who's on point for it, which is great.
And you talk about the theories behind successful companies. I think one of the key ones is that everyone knows everyone's working to the same very clear goal. Because whether it's a goal or a problem, you ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different variations, right? Yeah. So this is a way of just going, well, actually, no, everyone is very clear because they're working together. And I guess it's constantly reinforced because you're sat next to people. And I'm with you on this, by the way, but just for clarity, it's important that this is in the same physical space, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really helps, and we are returning to the office actually, and that really helps again for this sort of thing. I was in London, and we've got a new tribe area. I was sat with people who I would never have spoken to before because I just wouldn't have been anywhere near them. So that really does help. But if it sounds really strange, but if you think about it, we've just over the years become accustomed to working in made up areas like marketing, finance, and so they're just functional disciplines. This is just another way of looking at it. It could have been the other way, where we worked behind problems and opportunities, and you didn't ever work in these functions. And that's why it feels strange, because we've all spent years doing it. But over the years, we've all got examples of this. For example, HR business partners, for example, are a good one. They typically work really embedded in this kind of model, really. They often work for the HR team, but spend most of their time with the function they support. Trainers are often the same, and so on. So it's just taking it further than that. My talent person has done all of the hiring for me, and since I've joined, comes to my team meetings, has always been there. We hired her together, me and the HR director, and she's always been embedded in this model. Doesn't change, nothing changes for her. Whereas for other people, it's changed, quite a lot of change. So we already know this model works in some examples. It's just taking it further.
And how does this manifest? Has there been any sort of clear changes in terms of how you are able to deliver for your customers?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Are there things that are happening now? So, well, actually, I guess all your results, right, where you can say, this is because of the fact we've gone to this tribe model. Because how long's it been in effect now?
It's literally weeks, really. So we've been planning it for maybe 6-7 weeks, but we only had the kickoff in my tribe, for example, this week. So it's very, very new. So at the moment, the only real benefits I can say is that I've got everybody in each of the tribes working towards the same goals and objectives. The collaboration has gone through the roof. People have met tens and tens of people they would never have even previously thought about working with, and so on. The proof will come later about how much we can accelerate our progression towards our objectives, really. And they're pretty clear. We're going for some pretty big numbers. I mean, some of the tribes, for example, have got growth targets, and that they have no idea how they're going to hit. But it's they're astronomical improvements, and they just, in fact, taking net promoter score from 56 up to 70. That's not many businesses get there. That's what we're going to do. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but anyone who obviously has worked with NPS knows that that's without getting into debating whether NPS is the right measure or not. It's a big jump, and and we didn't think we could do it in the normal functional way. So by having everybody thinking about it and being aligned, so we'll see. I'll come on next year and tell you how.
Yes, please do. I love the idea of it. I think it's gonna be great. But I'd definitely love to catch up and see where you are. I guess with you, you're fully in this. It's been a startup. It's been brilliant. With your have you been able to take that focus and make it wider? I know because you were on the panel for what's happening what do you think is going to happen with the industry for next year. Have you been able to do that and kind of have a look around the rest of the contact center world, the customer experience world, and where's your kind of head at with what you think is coming for next year?
Yeah, I probably haven't spent loads of time on that, if I'm perfectly honest, because I've been so busy with growing everything. But we're at a nice size. You know, we've got just under 1,000 employees. There's about only a few hundred people. Being B2B, it's just not the same numbers that I'm used to in consumer. We've only got a few hundred people within the operation at the moment, and it's nice to not have to worry about those scale, about just eking that 0.01% out, because when you multiply that out, that adds up to millions of pounds, and it's nice that I'm not having to worry about that. So we're actually genuinely really focused on making our customers' lives better so that they will stay with us for longer, because the payment solution for a business is, although we only take a very small cut of the transactions, obviously people don't use cash anymore, so it adds up. And being B2B, there's a reasonable margin in there, but it's our customers. We put our money where our mouth is. Customers, typically in our industry, it's a 5-year contract. We do a 30-day contract. So if we're not brilliant, they leave, and they can leave. Wow. And there's no barriers. And this is we are pretty unusual in doing that, because we price the same as the people who do the 5-year contract. The only other people who do the 30 days are about 2 or 3 times as expensive. So it's a gamble, but we have to be really, really good. So actually, instead of spending all my time focusing on cost saving, I'm focused on making sure that the service is exceptional and the customer experience is exceptional, because actually that's more valuable than cost saving, because if I can extend the lifetime value and nobody leaves, then that's actually worth more to us than saving the cost. It's a lot of pressure, but it's a much more exciting mission, really, and purpose, to actually be so good that your customers don't ever want to leave, than be saving money. So actually, it's nice to be working on initiatives that are just constantly looking at delight rather than contact deflection and so on. Now we are also working on improving the app self-service, but only where there's a genuine customer benefit, where the customer actually wants it. And we invest quite big in insight. So actually, I know lots of businesses, and we've all worked in businesses where they say that they're doing something, driving it online and so on for the customer's benefit. But we all know the reality that some of those examples are actually really just about cutting costs and deflecting contact. We don't have to do that. It's not in our interest to do it, because if we lose those businesses, it's worth much more than the cost saving that we would make. So actually, I'm probably working on slightly different things in terms of that, because when that's your vision, really, and your objective, it changes things. So I mentioned on that panel, for example, that I think general standards are slipping in some regards. And I'm so bored of hearing people talking about high call volumes. I mean, there's several businesses I've been phoning for years have got that message. Like, who's reviewing it? Whose job is it to just check the messages? And, I just think that businesses are often working on some incredible technology and enhancements and so on, but are they genuinely in the customer's best interest? And are they doing the basics? Are they doing the day-to-day? And I know I touched on that at the panel, but I'm really, really, really determined that we don't let anything slip in terms of that day-to-day. And we're meticulous about checking that, because you can just get complacent. So actually, some of the work that we're doing on putting things in the app, we're working really closely with customers to understand what they want and prioritizing it really carefully. It's the biggest investment in insight I've seen anywhere. But so many projects we work on in this industry, are based on gut feel or a pound note, not on what the customer's genuinely told you. So we've got people who understand research much better than me, but I've been amazed with just the changing of the wording of questions gives a very different answer, and we've got all these experts who understand that, and then we do loads of interviews as well just to validate it. So yeah, so it's different. We're working on I think that lots of development is happening in terms of technology, but ours is a little bit more focused on what our customers are saying that they want, rather than me putting in speech analytics or chatbots and some of the big things that we've worked on in the past and so on. We're kind of really tailoring it around what our customers are telling us that they want. And actually, interestingly, a lot of what they want is some really basic stuff. They want some amazing tools that save them money and save them time, and they want amazing people on the phone to help them. And different size of businesses want slightly different things. If you're a single person, if you own a florist shop and you work on your own, you want a web chat that you can pick up 40 minutes later and just carry on the conversation when your shop gets quieter. If you're a big enterprise customer, you want an email, but you want it to be someone to get back to you within a couple of hours. If you've got anything technical, you want a phone call. And actually, for non-urgent things, you want to be able to do it in the evenings. Our customers are telling us when they do their admin and when they need us open, and we're listening.
That's great. And I think all the way through this, it's clear there's a kind of the dual theme of customers and employees. And I love what you said earlier around you can't get one without you can't deliver a true value for your customers without your employees enjoying it. Or you can, but they won't be your employees for very long.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of this. Something we did that I think is common sense, but lots of people tell me that they've never heard of it before. We had some really good insight that showed that our customers, when they were open, and they gave us really clear feedback, we want you to be open when we're open. And previously, most of the payments industry, unbelievably, is only open Monday to Friday. Whereas, of course, businesses are busy at the weekends.
That's insane.
So when we started up Dojo, we quite quickly realized that we needed to be open at the weekends. And but we all know lots of people don't like working weekends and so on. So we did all of our research with our customers, and then we did our research with our employees, and we found out there were some people who would work weekends and most who didn't want to. So we pitched an amount of money, and we said, you can have a choice. It's really important to us to be open, but we don't want you to leave, because when people leave, all that investment in training and time and speed to competency and all of that stuff is gone if you leave because you hate working on a Sunday afternoon. So we only want people working on a Sunday afternoon who want to work then. And so everyone bought into the customer research and they got it. It's very clear and obvious. So we gave people a choice. So we paid them extra money to work weekends, and we gave them a choice. Do you want to work Saturday, Sunday, or do you want to work 2 days and then every other weekend? And this is how much money you're going to get. And because we'd done our research internally and pitched it about right, within a few decimal points, it actually worked out, which was a bit scary. It worked out that we got exactly the right number of people pretty much. And it kind of turns out that where we pitched the money, some people say, I want to save up to buy a house. I want another few £1,000s. I'll happily give up my Saturdays. Some people then say, actually, I really like having a Tuesday off and so on. I love a day in the week when things are quieter. So we give people a choice. Whereas I think 60% of our teams say, thanks for the offer, but I just like working Monday to Friday, these hours, and I want my weekends. Others want the money. And so we've solved the customer problem, and we've solved a staffing problem. And instead of, for that extra £3,000 that we pay people, we would have lost that in the attrition that we would have seen.
Yeah.
And we were empowered to do whatever we wanted to do. And so far, all of our data, because our attrition is running at about 12%, and the industry average is significantly higher. And part of that is because people work the hours that they want to work, and they have that choice. So there's things like that we're doing that are a bit different. That's a really nice example, I think, of doing the right thing for your customers and your people. Absolutely.
Couldn't be better. I love it. Do you think your son will listen to this, and then maybe he'll get an appreciation of what you do?
He'll absolutely never listen to this. I'll make the offer, but no, he's too busy with football, rugby, running. girls, all sorts of stuff. So he's 13, almost 14, and yeah. So I'll offer it to him, but I'll be
no, don't. He needs to enjoy life because that sounds brilliant.
yeah, he has a good life.
Justin, it's been brilliant. I've learned so much, and I'm sure everyone listening has as well. Thanks very much for giving up your time and yeah, just sharing so many great tips. It's been great. Thanks very much.
No, you're welcome. And what, you Spurs fan, is it? You got a
Yes.
game against Leeds, is it?
Yes, it is. It's Leeds, and I'm fully behind Conte, I believe. So it's nice to. It's the hope that gets you. What are you again?
Bristol City. No one's ever called me a glory hunter. Yeah, I was born in Bristol, brought up in Leicestershire. Well, everyone brought up with Leicester fans who are now, well, they've stopped going on now, but they were excited for a while. But yeah, I take my son along, and he does occasionally say, why did you have to support this team? But yeah, we were in the semi-final of the League Cup a few years ago, and I took him to the Etihad, so he enjoyed that, and we beat Man United. But we haven't had many glory moments in the recent years. But
it doesn't matter. That's not why we support the teams we do, is it?
Exactly. Right. Well, I've got Harry Kane in my fantasy league team, so I'll be willing you on for that game anyway. And
thank you
have
very
a great
much.
weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.